This is IL-2 Sturmovik, 1946. Once upon a time, not a day would go past where I wouldn't play this game. I utterly adored it in its vanilla form, but these days I positively love it due to the various mods that I have downloaded. First it was Ultra Pack, then it was HSFX, now it's B.A.T. I'm not actually using my original CD copy of the game, instead I bought it via Steam, and now I have it on Steam, and it's a lot easier to maintain on Steam than it is with a CD copy, because with a CD, well, you've got to manually patch it, one by one by one, 4.08M all the way up to the current 4.13.4M, but I'm using 4.12.2M. I think that's the number. It gets pretty confusing after a while. That's the version necessary to use for the B.A.T mod that I have installed. It used to be known as CUP, the Community Universal Patch, I think that's what it stood for. These days it's called B.A.T, Battlefield Aerial Tactical. It is by far one of the most comprehensive mods for IL-2 1946. It turns 1946's positively minuscule, by today's standards, 6GB size to almost 50 gigabytes. That's just how much content there is. There's so much content, in fact, that they've had to split the mod into 4 different modules just to fit it all into a single install folder. You can't take the planes from each of these modules into battle against one another, to an extent anyway. You won't be able to see F4 Phantoms going up against a Sopwith Camel, not without some tinkering of your own doing. The footage you're seeing now was recorded on the World at War module, the module that is basically what IL-2 1946 was all about, World War II. The 3 other modules are Dawn of Flight, ranging from 1906 to 1926, The Golden Age, 1926 to 1939, and The Jet Age, 1946 to present. Despite Dawn of Flight saying it goes from 1906 to 1926, it mostly focuses on World War I. And as you can see, this is most definitely not a World War II aircraft. This is the Fokker DR-1 triplane, painted in the signature red colour of Baron Manfred von Richthofen, the most successful flying ace of World War I, with 80 confirmed kills. Among the more famous types like the Sopwith Camel, SE-5A, Fokker DR-1 and the Fokker Eindecker, there's also less well-known types, such as the Aviatik D1, just to name one plane that I can think of off the top of my head. It's not just the planes as well, there's also a selection of airships, 2 Zeppelins and some sort of dirigible. I'm not sure if it's a British dirigible or a German dirigible, just an airship of some kind. The Golden Age module focuses mostly on the interwar years. In fact, it focuses completely on the interwar years, hence the so-called date time of 1926 to 1939. The primary conflict it focuses on, however, is the Spanish Civil War, which was 1936 to 1939, the very end of this module, more or less. It's an interesting module, but I don't spend a lot of my time on it. I do prefer mostly the World at War module or the Jet Age module, with a little bit of dabbling into Dawn of Flight. Golden Age is just not that great, really, not that golden. And finally, the Jet Age. It's it's remarkable just how much work has been done to allow modern jet fighters into the game. I mean, there's already a jet fighter in the vanilla game, the ME-262, and in fact there's a bit more than that. There's also the HE-162 and the TA-183, but this is an F-4 Phantom with working missiles. Bang! In the vanilla game there is a missile called the X4, but that's a manually guided one. You actually have to press buttons to get it to fly. You have to take your focuses off of flying the plane to fly the missile. And you don't even get to follow the missile. You have to watch from a distance. That's just how hard the X4 is. But this is launching AIM-7 and AIM-9 missiles. And you don't have to aim. You just have to point the plane in the general direction of your target, and more or less they're gonna hit most of the time. It's probably not as satisfying as when you're actually using your guns to take down a plane, but then again, with guns you have to get pretty close to the enemy, and well, that enemy could be a bomber with lots of defensive machine guns, and well, with a missile you can shoot from a safe distance of about 2 kilometers away. Oh yes, watch those badgers go down. That just blew his tail off. Just watch him spiral to the ground. And another one. So that is the Battlefield Aerial Tactical mod, better known as B.A.T. There will be some videos coming out on this, such as would the GB interwar racing plane make a good fighter plane? And how well would a World War I fighter plane do in a battle against a World War II fighter plane? All that coming in the near future. Thank you for watching. Good night.